Hello and welcome back to the Sunday special episode of the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. We love a Sunday special, correct?
Love a Sunday special. I'm just getting off the high of having Rebel Wilson in studio, who you've heard on our Wednesday episode.
This is
so cool.
This is Jordana on a high. This is, well, I mean, it's just,
internally, I feel very giddy.
I think no, we're all. I absolutely understand. Buzzing. The office is buzzing.
Yeah.
The studio's buzzing. Rebel Wilson came here and swept us off our feet. I mean, if you haven't gone and listened to that, go back.
What a just cool person. I mean, obviously celebrity and like comedian and just
Right.
very funny, but like just like a cool, chill, fun person. Like loved her.
I can't. There's not enough nice things to say.
Yeah.
About someone just easygoing, just not. They say don't meet your heroes.
We met her.
And
She
it
was cool.
lived up to expectation. Very rarely does it do that. Yeah, just such a fun episode with her. I'm so happy we got the opportunity. And to have her, and we said this so many times, to have her say it's surreal for her is like, what?
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things just to hear. Like it legitimizes, I think, what we do here, because sometimes it does just feel like we're shouting into the void.
Oh, are we ever sometimes? No, but it's the power of the podcast. I mean, this is a subtle way to like turn this on the listeners. Like, if you have a friend in your life that doesn't know about this show, like, this is Rebel Wilson approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a stamp.
Right. So send it, like let people know, like it is cool. Like we have a personal connection with the listeners. Like it's for Rebel Wilson to look at us and like know about our lives.
Yeah.
Like when we
about us.
Right. Yeah. So
it's very, very cool.
Very cool. We want to thank her. She's listening right now.
Yeah. If you're listening,
thank you.
Thank you for coming on. We're in awe.
Grateful.
Monotone aside.
Yeah. And we're down to hang out anytime off camera. If that's something you and your, A-list Hollywood friends are known to do. I'll go to Disney on the
VIP list, right? Club 33 or something.
Right. I'll go, if I can hold hands with Goofy. I don't know what the Club 33.
That's a good date. I hope someone, cough, took me on as cool of a date at some point on such a romantic Valentine's Day.
If someone who's eating
listening.
Gushers is listening right now.
Someone's out there just searching the kitchen cabinet for more Gushers. Maybe they want to amp up the romanticism in our life a little bit. Just take some hints from
Ramona.
Wilson. Ramona.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen, we got a Sunday special for you. Before we get started, I'm on the road. If you're listening right now, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas, and then I'm coming to Europe, and then I'm going. We have the U Up Live,
yes.
New York, DC, Chicago, Philadelphia, all the hot spot, Boston, all the hot spot cities. Come. Betches.co/U Up Live. Is that what it is?
Yes. You're going to have a very busy summer.
Oh, absolutely. A busy spring.
Yeah.
Europe, and my brother's engaged. I was asking you, what are you doing this weekend?
And I was saying I have like a bachelorette, I think a dinner that's sort of like, I think it's like a dinner that's something that's sort of a club-ish. It's like a party dinner.
How old is the person whose bachelorette dinner is?
She's 34.
I think there's like an age, like there's that some people, not every person, but they go, I feel ridiculous. I don't need the trip. We've done the trips. I want to take my own trips. I don't want the bachelor. Because my brother said to me, he's like, I don't want a bachelor party. And I felt weird because I was like, I don't want to be the brother that didn't do anything.
Right. No, I do think, I don't know if it's just because I know people who are older or if it's a trend that people just don't really care about bachelor parties anymore. Because I guess it's kind of stupid if you think about it objectively. It's like we could just go on a trip. It doesn't, because it's not like, I think bachelorette's like most things about weddings used to be like, well, we're never going to have like we're virgins and this is and we're never having sex with anyone but this person, which obviously is still kind of the case, but you're kind of like, let me get it all out of my system.
This party
before the big day. And I don't really know if that makes sense like efficiency wise anymore these days, but it seems like I like them because I think they're a fun excuse for like a nice trip.
Well, they also weren't always trips. We've gone to the point that every wedding and every bachelor party is a trip. It used to be like we go on a bus downtown of city we all live in and get fucked up and done.
Yeah.
Like, and because it's gone to whatever point it's gone to, maybe we're coming back to that.
Right.
Maybe we're coming back to big dinner in New York City. We'll have a table at a club. The night's over. I don't need the weekend. I don't need people wearing my name on their T-shirt. You know, I think also you see it from other people. Go, ugh, I'm out.
Exactly. I think you could see, like, when you see it, it kind of looks stupid. But it is, again, I think it can be fun. But I do think once you get to a certain age where a lot of your friends have kids or like have maybe busier lives, if you're the first to get married, you better do a trip. Like,
right, do something.
Everyone's very excited about doing that. People like want to go away together. But I think the later you do it, the more your friends have like maybe jobs that are tougher or kids, or for women, a lot of the times their friends are pregnant. So they're just kind of like, what am I going to like force everyone to do this thing? It doesn't really feel like everyone's like in that mode.
Well, I have some friends that are like, hey, whenever it is you get married, we need this. Like I have guy friends that are like, not you.
Don't do this to us,
right.
man.
You're going somewhere.
Right.
And we're going somewhere awesome. I think maybe it's like a bell curve because maybe it's like, because my brother's around your age and it's this like curve of like, we got to do trips. Everyone's pregnant. We're kind of tired of it.
Right.
We got to do trips. We got to do trips again.
And then once you're used to that life, you're like, oh, now I got to get out of here.
Right. There's a wave to it. There's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
No, he told me he doesn't want to do. He's like, we should just go away.
Okay. That could be fun.
Like, where do you go? Now you have the world.
Yeah.
You can go where do we go?
Not back to Fra.
Fra is
Why don't you go to like Thailand or something?
Thailand with my brother?
That sounds fun.
We have one of those rooms with the swimming pool in it, and
is that a thing? In
I don't know. You can jump off of your own dock.
I think that's like the Maldives or Bora Bora,
right?
Not Thailand.
No, okay.
Maybe you could find somewhere like that.
And I'm already going to Europe.
Yeah, Thailand feels like a fun. Like you want to go like if you're going with one person, you want to do like an adventure trip,
right?
Right?
Maybe I guess. Yeah, we could do like the adventure of Thailand. I don't know. Maybe we could go. I don't know. Or we just go to like Montauk and we like do the highest level. That's the thing where the money versus time thing. You go, well, what if we got the nicest room on the Hamptons and lived like Hamptonians?
You mean like townies?
I don't want to be a townie. I want to be like,
Jerry Seinfeld.
Right, live a Seinfeld weekend.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Someone who has that.
Yeah, yacht weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just two men on a yacht together.
Brothers.
Two brothers.
I mean, I see it. I'm envisioning it.
I don't know. We talked about doing Charleston because of my connection down there, and he's like the mayor, and he would like basically help us out a lot. We thought, but he didn't want to do the big. He wants to do the dinner.
Well, you could do the dinner and then a trip with you.
Right, we can do a dinner.
Yeah, sometimes
in Thailand.
Sometimes when you want to do like nothing, it winds up you wind up doing like 5 things.
Right,
because you're like, oh, I'll do the dinner for the people who don't give a shit, and then I'll do like a big trip with my brother.
Right,
and then you're like, oh, how did I wind up actually exerting more effort in this
and spending more money?
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't know if he wants his fiance to be there, but I think that'd be called a honeymoon. Party? I don't know.
Is he just trying to invite you on their honeymoon?
I don't know what's going on. This was a text, and I don't want to push it. I don't want to say, what are you, fucking loser? You don't want a fucking bachelor party? Like, I'll do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit.
Would you want a bachelor party if you got married tomorrow?
I guess I would just to do it.
Right.
I guess maybe that doesn't sound like the right.
Straws?
I want the penis straws.
You want the shirts?
I want the vagina sippy cups. I don't know. I've never really. He's not a bachelor party guy, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
No one wants to be like, I'm marrying like the bachelor party guy. Like, that's scary.
Well, you don't know who the bachelor party guy is until after he's been married.
Right.
That guy on the trip is the worst. There's always one guy on the trip who like needs it too much.
Right. Where you're like, are things okay?
Does that exist on the Bachelorette party? Is there like one woman that you're like, oh God, thank God I am not married to that woman. Like I have that thought every bachelor
I don't
party.
think most of the time when you're like, thank God I'm not married to that woman, it's because they're more annoying than not because they're trying to party so hard. Like usually the person who's trying to party on a bachelorette, especially if their mom is like, oh great, you're like fun.
Yeah, you're great. Okay.
Because there is, I mean, I think more so for women than for men when you're like in that, when you're pregnant and then right after, you really can't be drinking at all. So sometimes women are like, I haven't been out in like a year.
Right.
Like,
I'm
really
done with
out.
that world. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of fun. The most annoying women on bachelor parties are like, that bar seems like kind of dirty.
Oh.
Or like,
Oh.
I don't know if, or like, you know what I mean? Like they're
right. They're just against things. They're just not open.
Right. Where they're like a little uptight.
Oof. That would be the worst. Yeah. Worst bachelor party guy is, we're not going to a strip club? What the fuck is going on? I gotta go to a strip. We gotta go. You don't want to go? What are you, a wuss? You want to be at a strip club? And it's like, you need this too much.
Right.
Dude. Like, cut it out.
That's probably because that guy's married to I don't want to go in that bar.
Right.
They're probably together.
They're together. Right. Dirty
like,
bar woman.
And he's like, I haven't been able to walk around my house with shoes on in the past 5 years. I need this.
Right.
I need somewhere where I can be the animal that I am inside without this person just watching me like a hawk.
I'd like to see Mike on a bachelor party. He's just chugging Coca-Cola. Finally, he's got Gushers and Coca-Cola and fruit by the foot.
Yeah.
He's like
leaving his bed unmade. I'm very strict about the bed being made.
Is it a soft make or a full make?
It can be soft. It needs to be made though.
Because I was in my last relationship, soft make was part of the lifestyle, and I brought that into my new lifestyle. I'm making beds.
I think making a bed is good for your mental health.
I think so too. I feel better. I don't want to do it, and then when it's done, I feel better that I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how I feel about making the bed. It's because when you do it often enough, then it becomes part of your thing. And we have a rule that whoever leaves the bed last makes the bed, but sometimes he doesn't follow it, and I find it to be quite annoying.
Well, he doesn't do it at all, or he doesn't do it the way you like it?
No, he doesn't do it at all sometimes,
different.
even though the rule of the home, I'm a rule person, I guess, is that the person who leaves the bed last makes the bed.
It's a good rule because at least it it's A or B.
Yeah.
I would rather that than it's your turn, or like, because I make the bed and like someone might look at my made bed and be like, that's not fucking made.
Oh yeah, who cares?
Fold over the top sheet.
As long as there's no like mattress showing or like, you know what I mean.
Mattress showing.
Like the pillows are at the head of the bed.
Yeah.
And the blanket is on.
I'm putting pillows on the corners.
I'm not measuring corner to like how much corner space is left there. I just want it to look like relatively neat.
It's not an army barrack.
Unless there's guests coming over.
Unless Rebel Wilson is having, coming over for.
Yeah. If there's someone coming over, then it should be like nice. But he actually does it better than me, but I do it more often than him.
Okay. Well, that matters too.
I guess. I just do think it's rude when he doesn't follow the rules, but.
They are written on the wall when you walk into the apartment.
Well, sometimes it's one of those days or one of those moments in a relationship where you're like, should I just do it or should I like start something?
Right.
In my head, I'm like, he didn't do it. Like he was last out. He's like already at work. Should I be that person who's like texting him that he didn't do it? Or should I just like do it and just not be that person?
As the kids say, did he fuck around and find out or not find out? Have you heard that saying?
No. What is that? It's like a TikTok
This is a new saying. Okay. Have you guys heard it? Fuck around and find out? It's not new. I think it's new I actually think it's new to white people. Like if I'm to be perfectly honest and blunt. Yeah, like it's fuck around and find out is like something what people would yell at someone as, you keep messing around, you'll find out what happens next. And
seeing how far he can push me. Right.
I think it's said in certain communities, not, when I see a white person say, I'm like, I don't say it, but
You mean you just said it?
I just said it. It came to mind as the young kids say, but where was I? I was out with a friend. I did shows somewhere, and after the show, there was one girl who was so hammered. She was with my friend, and she just kept going, fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. It was like she found out the line that day.
What does it even mean in that context?
She sounded out of control. It was drunk.
Okay.
And I just like, you know, when someone like has a word of the day calendar and they just use the word too much, you know, it was like she had found out this was a thing and saw it on a video. And so she just kept going, oh, I can fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. It just kept coming up. I was like, I'm annoyed at this person.
And just like that, it was over before it even began.
You want to do the email?
Let's do the email.
UUP@betches.com. Send them in. Keep sending them in. This is Rebel Wilson's favorite podcast.
For the record, do you think I should tell him that he should be making the bed?
Oh, so this happened.
It happened this morning, actually.
This morning. Yeah. No bed made.
Yeah.
I hate to get myself involved.
Mike,
turn
up the volume.
Yeah, turn up.
Unless they says something that's not on my side.
I think you're asking someone who isn't good at arguments at all.
Okay.
Because I would turn
you would just you internalize it, be resentful, and then like divorce him in 5 years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Not say a word.
Before we had kids. Okay. Remember 5 years ago when you didn't make the bed? That's my reason we're breaking up. No, I would make a joke.
Okay.
I don't know if it's good advice or not, but I would be like, I guess we're not making beds last to leave.
I'm gonna do that. That's a good idea.
Because it's such a small thing.
Right. It's like I didn't really care about making it, but it's more the principle.
Right. I was gonna get to bed, but I guess we're not getting into it if it's not made.
Yeah.
You know, I would.
Mike, if you're listening, this can all be resolved if you tell me how much you appreciate me making the bed before I say anything.
And at that point, the episode came out too late.
Might be too late for us. We'll find out.
Well,
fuck around and find out.
Right.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our. We don't have an email today, but we are doing. Well, I guess we do have an email, but it's more about a Reddit thread.
It's a little heady for me. I read this. I understand the question, but I have a lot of biases.
Okay.
When it comes to anything
on Reddit.
Anything on Reddit.
Yeah.
I just think is not a word. I don't know if there. I try to think of things of like what's the net positive, net negative. To me, Reddit's a net negative place. That's my bias.
I think there are certain pages that are 100% net negative, like overall bringing down the vibe of the world.
Right.
On occasion, though, you do find out, like, if you have a specific kind of question or thing, like sometimes there's like threads that I find useful as someone who gets like anxious and then reads about multiple people's experiences. I remember, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, when I got my braces on. Okay. I got my braces on that day. I'm like, fuck, this is really painful. And I sound crazy. So I went to like look them up and then I'd already gotten them on. It was so painful. And then I'm reading about all these people and they're like, yeah, it gets better in like 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake.
See, it didn't bring you to a better place.
It was too late for me. But maybe if I had done that before, that's the issue with Reddit. You only go on there when you're too late.
Right. Well, yeah, it always is a link sent to you. Yeah, there's a thread about you on Reddit, and you go, I don't want to.
Right.
That's the thing. Here's the thing about Reddit to me. I never been on there and felt better afterwards. I've never. And listen, there are threads about this podcast on there, and what I've noticed about Reddit, there's all the stories are heightened so much that they're all a little ridiculous. Like, if someone hates someone, they fucking hate someone.
Yeah.
If someone loves someone, and I've read some of these about our show, it's almost too much. Like I would be embarrassed to admit that someone could like this show that much.
Well, here's the thing: if you're going to a forum like Reddit, you have more extreme views. Otherwise, why would you even go there?
Right. I mean, what
would be the purpose? I think.
You're either looking to eat popcorn and watch the movie of these extreme views, or you're looking to get involved. Yeah,
right.
And
you're there lurking. I've lurked,
and I've been like, I got to get off this thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't like being in it. I don't like anything about it. And then there's a lot of like, am I the asshole? Am I the jerk? Am I this? Am I that? Some of these threads, and they all live in like kind of nerd porn territory for me. It's like the bullies are the biggest bullies. The cheating wives are the biggest cheating wives. The cheating husbands are the worst cheating husbands. The mean husbands are the worst. It all is cartoonish. It's actually like, it seems like hack sitcom writing, drama writing. I a lot of times when I read these Reddit stories. So again, these are my biases.
I think it feels a lot like, especially when they're super negative. And again, I don't think everyone is super negative. Sometimes there's people with like very specific things, and I feel like they can find other people like them, and maybe it's helpful in that way.
Right.
That's a different kind of thing than like something snarky.
Right. There's other. We're looking at a very specific version of Reddit. There's like tech stuff. There's a lot of the stuff
sports
with
stuff. I feel it,
there's also like a lot of the stuff about investing.
Right.
Like all the crypto stuff.
Yeah,
came from there.
Like I said, it kind of feels like the town square of like, but instead of back in before any technology, you'd have to like post a note to the town square about like what your issue was with the government or the thing or this store. Like you had to post, like literally put it on the town square, and that was you like screaming in the town square.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can scream virtually.
Right. I mean, I stay away from it so much that I didn't even know how to like click the link. Like, I don't know. It's confusing to me to read.
You're like the married people with the dating apps you complain about. I don't even know what to do with this.
At least I'm admitting it's not because I'm like trying to act above it. I'm just like, don't want to be a part of it. I don't see. I mean, I don't even. Yeah. So, I mean, but then we got sent this. You want me to read it?
Yeah. Go for it.
J&J, big fan of the pod. Please come to Toronto soon. I saw this Reddit thread on r Ask Men. So it's a Reddit thread called Ask Men with this question: what mistakes do single women who want a serious relationship make? Jared, I would love it if you could walk us through some of the top responses from men. Jordana would love to hear your thoughts on these quote-unquote mistakes. Sincerely, mistakes aplenty.
Well, the first one that would jump out at me is someone making more money than the guy they were dating.
Is that
would be the first issue?
That's the issue.
Right. Take from our last Sunday special.
Don't want that.
Right.
Huge mistake.
That would be the worst thing someone
donating.
could do. Right. Or, be fit while having to try.
Right. You don't want that. As one listener put it.
No, we'll get into the top comment examples. Maddie wrote out some of them, and we can give our take on.
Okay, let's do that.
So just to clarify again, the topic is, what mistakes do single women who want a serious relationship make?
Okay, I'm already in the bias, and I'm just admitting to this because I want to start admitting where I stand with Reddit as a place, and what my general thought on people who post there, especially men. I don't think they're coming with the idea of telling a woman the mistakes she's making is already like fraught with issues and something I don't really live in the land of. I try not to live in the you fucked up bitch. Like I don't want to be that guy. And I also think that the men who got on there, to me, I'm always like they're just incel losers to me. But we'll see.
We will see. I knew some very confident women that had their lives planned out and knew exactly who their type was, when they'd be ready for a relationship, and exactly what the ideal relationship was for them. They were so hyper specific about what they wanted, they just phased out any natural romanticism in their lives. Their relationships weren't organic, attractions just a checklist.
That to me sounds like a guy who got dumped. I don't even understand what to say.
Didn't have the checklist items?
Right. How does he know?
I mean, you've said something similar to this before, where you're like, sometimes it feels
like the incel?
Women just want to be in a relationship, or they want to get their boxes checked, and they're not necessarily like looking for a connection based on the person.
Right, but I tend to believe that those women are successful. I tend to believe that why, if the question is why do single women who want mistakes they make, you go, I don't know how you see this on a date. Like I do understand if you're. I guess the mistake in what is to say, if you have a schedule and you're looking to be married before a certain date, I don't think that's a mistake. Mm-hmm. You're not on the same timeline. You know what you want.
Yeah.
I can't fault someone. Listen, you might miss out on someone. There's a reason you don't hear a lot of women talk about the one that got away. Right. And it's for this reason. They have a schedule. Hey, the train's leaving. I think that's a better way to go than sticking around because you have no schedule.
Yeah, you rarely hear someone saying like about a woman like she was just fucking around with me.
Right. Right. You know,
I was trying to be
right.
serious, and she was just wasting my time, dragging me, dragging. Her
I'm
feet.
sitting here trying to have a baby.
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot from men.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this one?
I think sometimes when there's elements of truth to it, where I think that sometimes you can be so focused on getting a certain specific kind of person that you're not having fun, or that it's like you're treating it like a job interview, or you're not relaxed
Right.
going into it.
I think that is a different type of mistake
Yeah.
to me. But also I would never, I would never say someone having a type and what they want
Yeah.
is
That's
a mistake.
Good. No, I agree. I think that's good when someone knows what they want. And again, as long as they can bring it's hard, I guess, the idea of bringing the balance of I know what I want, but I'm also like having fun.
Right.
And I think that those two things can be hard to have simultaneously. Like
Right.
sometimes when you're sometimes we had an SOS listener on here where I was like, you're a little too cool. Or she was like, if he wants to date me, I could date him. And if he doesn't want to date me, that's okay too. I'm cool with this too. Where I'm kind of like, maybe you should know you're too far on the end of that spectrum.
Right.
But on the other end is like, I need to be engaged by the end of the year, or you can get the hell out.
Right. I think it's more of a mistake to not know what you want and ask someone else to tell you what you want. And that's kind of where that SOS, this is from now last week.
Yeah.
That you're talking about. That SOS listener, it was like a little unfair. It was like, tell me you like me so that I can make a decision from there.
Right.
And that's a mistake, is waiting for someone else's feelings to know your own.
I agree with that.
I think that's like more of a, you're going to be left, I don't think you're going to be left happy.
Right. I think it's better. Yeah, I agree. I think it's better to know what you want. It also it's more empowering to know what you want.
Right. And
you're more likely to get it if you can,
right.
You can figure out and own what you want.
And what this guy who's writing this to me is like, they're going, they missed out on something good because they have this list. Well, you're not on the fucking list, dude.
Sucks for you.
Sucks for you. That's why, the tone of that message, I just read that. I was like,
right.
I don't know about that one. You know.
I could see that. Very Reddit-y.
Let's do another. Not spending enough time single. I've seen numerous female friends and coworkers go through this cycle where they stick around in a failed relationship for too long, spend 1 to 2 weeks single, thinking they're going to die alone and never feel loved again. Again, this is everything is the most extreme on this. And then start a new relationship with the first marginally acceptable guy they find until the cycle repeats.
I don't think this is a woman thing. I think this is a people thing.
I agree.
I think men are just as likely to do this. I can think of many men as well as many women who do this. And you know what? Part of me was like, you should be single and figure out who you are and know what. Some people just easily get into relationships and they're like very good at getting into them and they like being in one. And so they can easily get into one. I don't really think there's something wrong with that. It's not really my style or like how I would generally operate. But sometimes I do feel like there's people who just, they're relationship people.
I agree with that. I don't think it's bad to get in a relationship. I think the point, and I think you're right, like people stay in relationships that are not right for them for too long. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's human. Yeah. People stay where they're comfortable
and
for too long.
Most people are not out of the relationship the second they think they maybe should be.
Absolutely. I can tell you that from experience.
That would be a very chaotic world,
right.
I think.
Do you want to break up? Do you want to break up? We're done same day? We decide to say, everyone just decides on time. Yeah, this one, I think is staying in a relationship too long a mistake? Yes. One that I've made.
Okay.
Right? But I would also say it's very human to be like, maybe it'll work out. Maybe, is there anyone out there that's better than what I got going on here?
And I think there's a spectrum of too long. For some people, too long is like 6 months. For some people, too long is like, I married the person. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten married.
Right. And I think the mistake becomes not even trying to be single. I think the more of the mistake here is going back to the person you left.
Yeah.
When things don't work out right away. I don't think finding a new relationship is generally a mistake.
I agree. It's like adding more experience on. And that's someone who, again, I think that almost is a good sign in some ways, because it's like the person's dating, not feeling like they need to be with someone forever. They can they can have a good relationship and then leave and go to another good relationship.
Right.
Potentially.
That might be the way they date.
Yeah. All right. Lack of communication. Obviously, this goes both ways, but if you are open right away or a few dates in with what you're looking for, that will save yourself and your fellow time and potential hurt feelings.
Is this a mistake that single women make? I think this is a mistake everyone makes.
I agree. I think
that's
universal.
Not saying enough. You can't be afraid of losing what you don't got.
Yeah.
I think that lives in that land of like, well, I'll hold back because I don't want them to know that I want casual, so I'll,
or turn them off.
Or turn them off. Or I want serious, so I'll turn them off as well. It can go either way.
I can agree.
Stop playing your options. Pick one person. Invest some time and energy into that connection. And if it doesn't click after a couple of weeks, then move on to the next person down the line. Casting a wide net is not how you keep people around that are looking for a serious relationship. This sounds like a guy who got dumped.
This sounds much more done by men than women.
Right. Right.
This does not seem like a single woman thing. Like stop dating so many people, women. I don't think that's likely what's going on. It's usually the men who I feel like are afraid of losing the options.
I mean, this is more my issue. This is my mistake. I'm on Tinder, or not Tinder, but I'm on Hinge while going on date. Is that the right answer? It's probably not. You're not focused.
Yeah. I don't disagree with like the notion, but I think it doesn't have anything to do with single women. I think if anything, it's less. That's something single women wish men would listen to more.
Right, and this sounds like one guy who was dating someone who wanted to be in a long-term relationship with someone who just didn't want to.
Right. Yeah, and then he's made it about like
these women.
Yeah, when really it's
out
about
here
him.
swiping while dating poor old Jonathan. No. Yeah.
Everyone is afraid to say and do things that will drive people away, when that's the whole point of dating. Driving away those who aren't fit for you. Like, I don't want kids. I'm not going to keep that to myself out of fear that a girl will leave, because that's the point if she wants kids.
This is an everyone thing. This is a mistake everyone makes dating.
Yeah.
Not being, I mean, we've talked about this
mistake. Yeah.
Right.
Where you're like trying to mold yourself into someone they want to date.
Totally. That's what yours is. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine mentality. Does this person not sound like they hate women?
You scratch my back, you scratch my back. Yeah, they definitely do. It sounds like a person who's like afraid of someone taking all their money.
Right. Either we're both share equally or we keep separate stuff, but dating you does not mean he should relinquish half his stuff while you don't contribute.
Yeah. This sounds like an angry man.
Right.
Yeah.
If we get divorced, I want the house. Doesn't it sound like that?
Yeah, this guy sounds like he has his own issues around that kind of thing.
Right. I just don't think, listen, I'm going to pimp our podcast.
I don't think that's why women are not doing well. Single women are not doing well with dating.
Right. That they're, well, you better pay for the date and I want you to go down on me.
Right.
It's not like, this is a chance to give, this is why you listen to this podcast. I mean, I hope I give a more reasonable male perspective than what's going on right here.
On Reddit.
Yeah, I just read some of this and it reeks in. I can see the guy who says it, and it's an emotional response. It's not a very empathetic. Yeah. It's a very straw man. That was the thing. The Reddit things are a lot of straw men.
Which means what?
Basically, when you say that's what's yours is mine and mine is what's mine is mine mentality, you're basically painting a picture of a woman that people will hate. The money grabbing, that you're trying to say, well, all these women out here are money sucking assholes who, or what do they call it? Gold digger. This plays on the gold digger trope.
Yeah.
And saying that and I shouldn't have to give you half my stuff. You know, half
That's
my
someone
stuff.
I would want to stay very far away from.
Right.
Yeah.
Half my stuff comes from something that they know is undeniable, which is that a lot in divorces, people split up their stuff.
Right.
And they're using it to create this fictional character that I'm sure exists in the world, but on a grand scale, if you say that about every woman, you're just an asshole.
Yeah. I agree. Treating the guy she views as a serious prospect worse than the guys who were just flings. I think that's sort of an implication of playing like games.
I would say is a mistake that I think if I was to find the right in that, it's I'm not really into
chase me.
Yeah. The negging.
Yeah.
And men get accused of the negging thing because there was that dating show, The Game, and that was kind of a big part of it is that you say mean things and it makes them want to chase you more. I see it a lot from my end. I see it from women on my end, and it's never gotten me. It's never made me like them more. It's never helped.
I think it's very immature.
Right. It
like,
screams immaturity.
I think it'll get you an immature relationship. If you're looking for an immature relationship, you can find one by doing that.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're not going to be with someone that if that's what you want, that's what you'll get. But the idea of like, you're kind of funny. Okay.
Right. Like that's not an adult mature situation.
I had a woman who came over to my house on a third date and started talking about how she will rearrange my house when she moves in. I blocked her immediately. Okay. Please respect someone's private space and unless you are in a committed relationship.
I think it depends how she said it.
It's a little touchy.
Yeah.
It's a little listen, someone walked in my...
Was she joking?
Was she joking? Right.
It's
just a little like, I don't know.
He seems a little like, blocked her immediately.
To say this again, to go back to say this is every woman needs to heed these, this advice. No, well, listen, if you walked into a guy's apartment and you saw he took a lot of care in decorating his apartment and you said, well, this is all changing on my watch, yeah, be kind of dickish.
Right. If he had 15 jerseys hung up on the wall and you made a joke about the decor, I don't think it would be like
surprising or mean. Yeah, right. I'd be like, well, and listen, there are ways to say things, like there's ways to go, if you looked at my jerseys on my wall, I don't have jerseys. I have a painting of me holding charcuterie.
Like a normal person.
like us men do. But if you saw a jersey on my wall and you were like, that all sucks. Yeah, you sound like an asshole. Yeah. It's not about... That has nothing to do with you. I kind of...
It's respecting your space.
Yeah, I don't think that's...
Yeah.
Now, if I had a bonsai tree out and a whole Asian theme, I'd be like, okay, and you were like, started laughing at me. Yeah, we're not the match.
Right. I agree. Being shapeshifters with no personality of their own. Everything the boyfriend likes, they like. Yeah, that's sort of similar to the other one.
Right.
I think.
I agree with that. It's a similar, to not just having a point of view, I guess. Only getting advice from other women in the same boat, staying in the echo chamber. Again, this sounds like angry men, like all these women just telling each other how men suck. I listen, and I don't deny that people exist that are in misery, that are angry
sometimes
at the dating
brunch
world.
Table does give bad advice. I'll give them that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
like the blind leading the blind.
Right. Well, then and the worst part about the brunch table is it's not usually like a bunch of single women. It's usually one married person who's disconnected from reality who does this the most.
Well, both can be bad. Someone who's too in it might have their own like projections of anger towards a man who's doing that to them. And someone who's married thinks they know everything because they happened to meet someone earlier.
Right. And it just worked out.
Yeah. So don't listen to anyone besides this podcast.
That's what we come back to. Chase me mentality. Sex is a prize that's earned. Entitlement. Lack of serious effort. Shallowness. Lack of commitment. I don't know.
I don't really understand what they're saying.
Me neither. I also, the sex is a prize that's earned. I don't...
Like for them or for the woman?
I don't know which way this goes.
Lack of serious effort, shallowness, lack of commitment. Yeah, these are just these sound like a performance review.
The sex part, I would say, just knowing that, like, I think like the mistake is realizing that your definitions of of being sexual are different than maybe the person you're in bed with.
Or your definition of casual is different than that person too.
Right. Friends with benefits, casual, being intimate, what that means towards, you could be in bed with someone who thinks being in bed with them has nothing to do with whether they'll be in a relationship with you.
Right.
And I think that gets overlooked by some women where, they assume that their relationship with sex is the same as the person that they're in bed with.
Do you feel like the older you've gotten, the more aware of how sex can impact?
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you think most men are like you, or do you think they're all kind of living in this like ignorant naivete?
No, I think they're closer to me than maybe we give them credit for.
Like they would know that one sleeping with you, that would change things for someone else often.
Right. If a guy, I know that I think that's the case because of the emails we get. Their actions tell me they know exactly what's going on. Hey, we just had sex and then they backed away and they got a little weird. Like to me,
that almost, I was like, maybe that indicates that they don't know that changed things for you.
No, I think to me it's that they do know because they're going, I need to like warn them that this isn't that big a deal to me and it might be to them.
Okay.
It's like cleaning up after you made the mess. Right. Listen, and I'm not like I'm guilty of such actions, so you do, I think that tells me that people know, like when you like, and off. The idea of like not having sex
because they like got what they wanted. Now they're thinking clearly.
Right. I've never, that's what people have kind of said. I don't believe that's the case. Okay. I think it's more like, fuck, what do I do now? I mean, like,
but then why even have sex?
Well, to take us to, to talk about The Bachelor, sorry to bring us to the Bachelor world, but this is a little bit on what's going on. The Bachelor, the guy had the fantasy suites.
Right.
Okay, this guy, Zach. Zach says, he doesn't even have to say this. He didn't have to say a word. He says to the host, I know it's fantasy week. He calls it sex week. So you can already tell.
Fuck week.
Right.
Have we gotten to fuck week yet? Yes.
We're here. Time for all the fucking on fuck week. Well, Zach does this thing, and it relates to what we're talking about because Zach does this thing where he says, I am not having sex during sex week.
Okay.
When he calls it sex week, you can kind of already tell that his relationship with sex is put on a pedestal a little bit. He's not really, whatever. So he says this when he could have just, because fantasy suite week, the whole point is that you get the suite.
Yeah.
No cameras. So you get,
you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. So he could have had his 3 different experiences with 3 different women and just said nothing. And, not made promises and had his night with them. He could have been with each of them and told them individually, hey, this is a really fun night for me. I'm enjoying being able to be with you. Sex is not something I need to make a decision to get married. And if you need that, maybe we're on different pages. And then they break up or whatever.
Right.
Or he goes and has sex. And
also
he says,
an option.
It's also an option. Instead, he says it up front to the host. He's like, no sex. And the host is like, Jesse Palmer's great because he's just like this bro. He's just like, what? He's like,
the best part.
Right.
Fuck week.
Right. You're opting out of fuck week? That's like not going to syllabus week. Like he's like totally like, how are you going to resist temptation? Yeah. He's a total idiot buffoon. So then the first woman, he goes.
Sean Lowe does not like.
So he took counsel from Sean Lowe, who is the born-again Christian bachelor who has 3 kids now and is the only man to work out in this whole world.
Yeah, I love them. Sorry.
People love him. People do love him.
I love them, yeah.
So
man of God.
He loves God.
Loves God.
So, again, good for him. But I'm not going to God-loving Sean Lowe for my advice during fuck week.
Okay.
It just seems
different
like,
agenda. Different agenda. Okay.
Right. Or acknowledge, I'm a religious guy. He never acknowledges that as well. So, first woman he goes on a date with.
Do you think it's a coincidence that the only guy where it really worked was like taking sex way different, more seriously?
Not at all. I think it's totally, and I even believe that I don't envy any man going on The Bachelor for this reason.
Right.
Because I just don't think this is possible to go out with one woman, have a night with her, and then go, all right, I'll go to the next one. Maybe we'll get married too.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that not held against you it would be very difficult to just move on with life together, knowing that a night before, it's difficult.
Right.
So he goes in the first one, no sex. Supposedly, we're told that he says it to her on the date. I want to have sex. Then he goes in the second one. He says, I don't want to have sex. And that woman, she kind of saw it as a challenge.
Okay.
She was like, oh, we'll see. So then they go back to the room, wakes up in the morning, they're cuddling. And he goes back to the host and he's like, remember I said I wasn't going to have sex? He goes, I fucked up.
Okay.
I went against my own rule. A rule he didn't even have to make. And then, and this is to go back to, do men know? He goes back to the woman he just had sex with, Gabby. And he goes to her door, knocks on the door, and you could tell she thinks she won the show. It's like, I had sex with him. He said he wouldn't do it. He must love me more than the rest. And then he talks with her and he goes, just want to let you know, I don't, it was a mistake by my rules, but I'm happy we did what we did, but I'm still going, this isn't over. Okay. It's basically, it was a warning.
Yeah.
In the same way, not texting, not calling, not communicating.
Sure.
Is a warning of sorts of like, this is just that.
Yeah.
So even this guy who handled this as dumb as possible had the wherewithal that he's like, I know I have to say something.
Okay, so he's not pretending to be ignorant about what that might mean.
Right, and it wasn't to say, got what I wanted.
Right.
In his eyes.
You're going home.
Right. Now that that's over with.
Did he pick her?
She's still in as of taping, but when this comes out, I think we'll have a winner.
Do you think that got her to the next round?
I do actually believe that. I think he felt guilty. I think it made it a different.
I think it would have been a bad
ceremony.
look for him.
Absolutely. And even when she got the rose, Gabby and Katie got the roses. My girl Ariel, the Jewish one, sent home.
Okay.
Back to her mishpucha. She's
just in time for the Seder.
Right. Ready for Passover.
Yeah.
So they, but when he gave out the roses, like even Gabby, the woman, she goes, I feel like I have the scarlet A on. I feel like, yeah, he made her feel that way because he feels awkward about having done something that he knows means something more, or he's made seem like something more by saying, I don't have sex. Then he gives in, and then she's like, well, I can understand. She's not crazy for being like, I did it.
Right.
Although
if he did say, I'm not trying to do this, that would be like.
It's a little here. I've gotten some feedback from people like, if it was a man that said, we'll see, I'm like, it's a little different. I whether you like it or not, it's different. But also, it preyed off of her insecurities, I think, when he said, I won't have sex. Because then she was like,
oh, yeah.
She was like, well, now if I get the sex, it did feel like she was like the math numbers above her head.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess it got her around for an extra week. So we'll see if it sealed the deal or not.
We'll see how awkward it gets next week. Yeah. But this is already out. But this is to the point.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right. That's enough Reddit for today.
Right. Yeah, and I guess people will be writing about it on Reddit.
Yeah, let us know what
you
think.
Do you understand what I'm talking about, though? With the negativity?
Yeah,
I
mean, it's like a toxic breeding ground for people with a lot of thoughts. Got to keep people with a lot of thoughts somewhere.
You got to put them somewhere.
I can't have too much thinking going on out there. Anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday with our next episode.
Boom.
The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales-Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.